it really is unbelievable. It's sort of one of those things you dream of, and so when it actually happens, you really are going, wait, what's going on? You know what I mean? But it's the sort of biggest honour you could have, really, especially when you sort of see the other people who you're nominated with. You just think, oh my God, for my little name to be next to theirs is like, incredible, really. So yeah, sort of very much on cloud nine about the whole thing. I think I will be for the rest of my life, but yeah, just amazing. I honestly think I think Scousers are just such a natural born storytellers, like you can't even get on a bus to town without hearing somebody giving like an Oscar worthy retelling of like something that's happened that morning. And I think it's also that we understand what stories can do and how they can help and sort of like unify people. And I think, we've got such a rich sort of culture and heritage, I guess, of, sort of being such a creative and dynamic city that it just translates on screen, is there's a real sort of truth and heart that we sort of can't shake. And I think as soon as you give people the opportunity and the support to make their own things or to be a part of, TV, film, what sort of whatever it is, then they really do sort of shine because they know what it can do on the other end, which is amazing. Yeah, so it's a bit wild, to be honest. So I was originally an actor, so I went off to London, trained as an actor, and then come back, and it was COVID. It's quite hard to act from your mum's spare room, to be honest, if our reason what you're there. And so I sort of retrained and become an accent coach. And then I found myself, once things started opening back up, I found myself on sets as an accent coach. And that's how I found myself on series 1 for Go Ahead. And then, so when you're actually on a set, only certain people have cans, which are like the headphones, because a lot of people there just cared about the picture, which is fine. So what I didn't realise was that when I was going in, sort of give notes and things, people were listening and were sort of saying, oh, she's quite good at giving these voice notes. And so then Mario Stylianides, our exec producer, and Nana Hughes, our commissioner, both sort of spotted something in me that they were like, we think she doesn't know it yet, but we think she's meant to be a director. And so they sort of invited me to the edit for series 1, and I sort of was basically learning all of the post-production, and then got a phone call the next year in the May once we found out that Go Ahead had been like given a second and third series, and was basically told, we want you to be the lead director. Sink or swim is sort of how I like to learn. So for most people, when I tell them that story, they're like, oh my God. And I'm like, that's sort of the only way I do anything, is just go, right, just go all in. And Mario was amazing. They really, sort of put around me the A-team and just surrounded me with the most experienced and amazing people you could ask for, really. So whenever there was a moment on set where I think, oh, what am I meant to do here? I could turn in any direction and someone would go, it's this, it's that. So it really was the most sort of amazing experience, but I literally did learn by doing, which is quite an extreme way to do it. But yeah, it's sort of perfect for me, I guess. And I think anyone who had that opportunity would jump at it. So I'm very aware that it's not the norm. But yeah, it was just amazing, really. It was the support around me that made the biggest difference. TV and film, it's a team sport. It really is. And as soon as you think of it as anything else, you're just shooting yourself in the foot, And so it really was. It sort of just taught me that if you can if you can lead from a place of sort of like curiosity and courage and kindness, then you can really sort of, do amazing things. And it was just a sense of sort of never sort of feeling like I was on my own, where I think a lot of the time in this industry, opportunities don't necessarily come with the support that's needed for the person to sort of thrive within that opportunity. And then I'm very, very lucky that was just simply not the case for me. So it was, of course it's a lot of sort of pressure, but I never once felt like, the people on that set weren't going to sort of follow me into battle, as it were. So yeah, it was sort of everything and more, but it was just a case of sort of taking it a day at a time and knowing that things were going to come up that I hadn't encountered, I'd not seen before, but I had a team there who were going to hold me and go, right, okay, these are your options. What is it you want to do? I'd be like, okay, we'll do that one. So yeah, very, very lucky, really. For me and the rest of the team, what's really important is, there's a lot of scouse, well, there's not a huge amount, but a lot of scouse shows that we have seen are sort of through a slightly bleak lens. I'm born and bred in Fazackley, and so there was sort of my whole childhood and sort of, all through school, nothing about that to me felt bleak, felt really joyful. I loved every minute of it. And so for me, I was like, it's so important we see scouse and working class joy on our screens, because it's something that feels almost like radical, is for these kids to just really sort of love life and the life that they have. And so for me, it was sort of very much about going, but what is our version of this, and it feeling sort of true to the people at home who be watching it. And I think in being as specific as we could be, that's why the show has sort of been, sort of universally so accepted, as people can sort of see glimmers of themselves on screen, and in a sort of joyful, really empathetic and sort of heartfelt way, which for me was at the core of everything, really. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is finding your people. I think, especially with a lot of this, it can feel lonely at times, is if you're a writer, you spend most of your life sat at a laptop on your own with all these sort of voices in your head that you're trying to get out. And I think as soon as you find your people and your team, grab hold of them and don't let go, is the biggest thing. Is it really is the strength of your work is in the people who are around you. And if you're lucky enough to find them, then sort of keep hold of them. And then, yeah, just always sort of be curious, it really was just curiosity that sort of has managed to open these amazing doors for me. I would never in a million years have thought of myself as a director. I really wouldn't. I've always wanted to act. But it took somebody else seeing something in me and going, we think it's this actually that you're meant to be doing. And the sort of curiosity going, I'll give it a go. That sort of has opened up so much for me, and it sort of actually made sense. And so yeah, I think just be curious and just be kind, and you won't go too far wrong. I think so much of the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is because of the mentors that I've had in my life. And I think it's a thing of, like, I've always sort of seen it as like, if I can get any door open, I'm going to make sure I leave it ajar for everyone else to run through it behind me, and I think to me, that's what being a mentor is it's going, right, ask me anything, because I promise you, I've asked a much stupider version to someone a lot more important than me. And I think if you can be that voice and that sort of landing space for someone, then I don't know why you wouldn't. It's not that I think I have a great deal to share. I'm very much still figuring everything out. I don't think that ever stops, but I think it's more just being able to sort of go to someone, listen, I'm here. Like, if you've got anything, just let me know and we'll do it together. I know it's sort of taken a huge amount of sort of pressure off me. And so if I can do that in a small way for anyone else, then I will. So yeah, that's why it's sort of important to me. And I love it, you know. You learn just as much being a mentor as you do being a mentee. It really is. It's you know, I think sometimes you can think of mentors as being like oracles. I'm no oracle. But it's more just about being able to sort of guide someone and being able to be a soundboard. Yeah, it's just really important.